Yo, people, welcome back to another episode of All You Can Eat Chelsea. Big up your damn selves in the building. Welcome back to the casting crew, the people you love. Miz and Younes in the building, episode 204. And we've got a lot of things to discuss today in terms of the direction of the pod and where's Baba? Because everybody's saying, where's Baba? Javon is terminated in terms of he is so tired. You guys know that he wakes up at like 4 or 5 a.m. So he's missing this one. Baba is, I think, hosting the cricket, is he? He's watching the cricket.
He's doing a lot of cricket stuff. So
yeah. So basically Chelsea have drove him away from the sport.
From football.
It's a good thing he's got another love. Do you know what I mean? Like, because if it's just Chelsea,
that he's really good at as well. Like,
it's
equal.
Yeah.
Like, so it's a very good thing. He can bounce off.
Do you know what? It's true because Formula One's starting soon, and Lewis Hamilton's wearing red. So I will be.
Are you going to be wearing red?
I will be wearing red, and I will be covering that 100% in some capacity. I love Formula One, and that is like my dream combination of driver and team. So we need our world championship. So I will be there.
100%.
Ms. Younes, where you guys going? What sports you got?
No, but like, when I found out about football, I was like 4, and Formula One I found out simultaneously. It's always been my second sport. So,
lovely.
And I studied automotive technology at uni as well. Hence, I thought if I'm going to do something academic, I'll do it with that.
Yeah. Imagine seeing Younes in the pit stop.
I know how it works.
Changing tires.
We do need some faster pit times at Ferrari, to be fair. So
yes, 100%.
I've been seeing over the seasons. It's the first time I'm supporting now, and I'm not impressed.
100. But no, I grew up like idolizing Michael Schumacher and Ferrari as a whole. So that's Lewis. Yeah, no, it's F1 for sure. F1 for sure.
What about you, Miz?
Well, cricket is definitely a second love, but my team is rubbish, bro. Bangladesh is Southampton, bro. imagine trying to be Southampton fan in cricket. Do you know what I mean? Now I'm really enjoying the WWE. I know that's not really a sport, but I'm enjoying that with my son again. He's watching with me, so me growing up and watching it by myself and being entertained massively. Now being able to watch it with my son is I see dynamic. Myself through him, you know.
Yeah.
And then he gets a pillow. He's doing the tombstone. He's doing the pile driver. I go, mate, make sure you don't do that to your sister. Just go with a pillow, never with your little sister. Okay?
Any move, just not a pile driver. Like, be careful, be careful.
And he full lands him as well.
It's going to be broken.
He full lands the pile driver with the pillow. As long as it's the pillow.
Yes.
Oh, well, listen, we're off the back of a win as well, which is rare.
Yay.
Very rare these days. Felt a bit weird. We was having phone calls mid-watch along as well.
Yeah.
And just, I don't even know what to call it, but we were just, I guess, discussing the events as they were unfolding. And then it dawned upon me just before we started this recording as well, is that we're not in the FA Cup. So this weekend is free. Massive gap for the players because then they go and play Copenhagen. They must get through to the final or we're not going to have any football to watch, really. It will just be Premier League, which is crazy, these gaps. And then obviously there's an international break. And to be honest, I will be, outside of Chelsea, I've just realised, I will be supporting England to the hills now. To Thomas Tuchel's in charge. And I need that World Cup. So I'm gonna run that one because if Thomas Tuchel brings a World Cup back for England, finally this entire nation is going to respect him the way they should. He's going to be back up in the conversations with managers he should be.
Oh, bro,
I'll be cheering England on as well, and I don't even like England. Do you know what I mean? I'll be cheering them on.
Nah, has a German ever been knighted? I don't think they have. I don't think there's ever been a knight.
I don't know.
Is that even possible, Younes? Is that possible?
Hey, for Tommy T, it has to be.
It will be
That's
for
the
him.
exception. If he does that, mate,
bro, if that's possible, then Roman can come back and collect his club as well. Then anything's possible.
100%.
Oh, dear. Well, first of all, I'm going to start with a lovely announcement, okay? Oh. Now, one of you know the announcement, and the other one of you doesn't know the announcement. This is an all-you-can-eat Chelsea announcement, and how ironic that it is the original panel right? That is here, and to hear it for the first time. Now, I had a phone call with Miz 2 weeks ago. Now Miz knows what it is. I had a phone call with Miz 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so I'm the one that doesn't know it.
Right? I had a phone call with Miz 2 weeks ago. And I remember when I put up my first video on twitter.com, as it was known as then.
Yeah.
Put up a video, very cringe, very corny. Can't even remember what it was, but it was some sort of content creation, something Chelsea related and something hopefully creative. And one of the first people in my comment section was Miz. And I'm not sure what his name was on Twitter at that point, because there was quite a few things going around. There was the 12th man. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I remember.
That was a whole group. Yeah. There was...
Here's a message just for you.
Here's a message just for you. Yeah.
Yeah, one for me.
Yeah, because he was making those videos.
What?
He was making those videos cussing out everyone and anyone that needed to be cussed out. So he was one of the first people in my comment section saying, "Bro, you're amazing. You're so supportive. I mean, you're so good at what you do." He was so supportive. He was just waxing lyrical. Honestly, he was giving me the most propaganda and the most like boost you could possibly give someone. And just because of that first video, I was having this phone call and he was saying, "Listen, I appreciate you guys obviously for everything you've done in regards to helping me get to 100K. The support on this show, constantly always here, regardless of whether we win, lose or draw. Very difficult conversations, very fun conversations, emergency meetings, Champions League wins, right?" And I thought no better way to show my appreciation for Miz and also Younes. But listen, I know Younes is gone clear. Do you know what I mean?
Younes is
He's gone clear.
He's
him and Bubba have gone clear. But no better way to show my appreciation for Miz, but to give him the show that I built and the show that I put together and give it to his channel next season. And we all go there and we bring the numbers to him and hopefully we take him to 100K. And I pass on the baton to you. You're the host. And I mean, listen, it's something that I was thinking about for a while, but I thought I have to give my brother something. I have to give him something because without him, I don't even know if I'd even... He came on my channel when I had a Cast Aside podcast channel with like 70 subscribers to tell his story, the Australian dream. So if I have to give him the show. So that is the announcement, people. Miz will be your host next season. I will be a panel member. I very much look forward to it because I'm gonna say some wild shit.
Nah, you know what?
Welcome,
Matisse, when you gave me the phone call a couple of weeks ago, I had no idea this is what you wanted to talk about. I thought you just wanted to randomly catch up, or I think it was off the back of a loss. I thought you just wanted to rant. I thought you just wanted to vent. I was in the office, just doing my thing, and then when you told me what you just told everyone and Younes as well, honestly, it blew my mind. It blew my mind, and I know how much this show means to you. I know how much this show means to all of us because I don't think it's normal for a casting crew to be together for so long. Like,
no.
If you think about it, you, me, and Younes, the original cast, obviously we then added Baba and Javon. But us three, we've been doing this since 2021.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. 4 years.
It's wild, It
is.
I don't think you stay together for this long if the bond isn't strong enough.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I think it's fantastic. When I heard you say that, honestly, like I felt it. I really did. It really, really touched me, man. And hopefully I can do justice to it. I really appreciate the gesture, man. And I hope that we can keep bringing more content next season. And, maybe one day I can pass it on to the next. It's like it's a as you said, it's a baton that needs to be passed on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So. No, I'm looking forward to it. As host, I'm looking forward to now being a panel member and seeing what that's like.
You're gonna love it.
Oh, bro, I'm looking forward to it.
No, can I also say?
Go on.
Firstly, I think that's a brilliant gesture, and congratulations, Miz. I think that's thoroughly deserved. I'm looking forward to being able to again do all of this, but on your channel. And I think even to Matisse, credit to you for that, because what people can take away from that, right, is never forget even the little things that someone will do for you, right? And you've done that out of goodwill because Miz has been with you since day one. So that's something that people can take with them is always look to those that helped you from the very, very bottom, right? And this is an example of that. So, and it's not easy doing that too, because many people, I think, with a growing platform like yourselves, Matisse, would probably be like, oh no, this is a staple of the channel, I'm going to keep it. And you've just gone, no, here you go. And I think that's really, really selfless. So
bro, it's massive.
Credit to you for that. And credit to you, Miz, because you've always been genuine and real. And look, it's like I said earlier, when like the way we met was you giving a message just for me. And look at us now. So that says everything about a sort of person that Miz is as well. And I'm really, really happy to hear that for the first time. I didn't know. So credit to the both of you. I'm looking forward to that next season. Yeah.
Bro, he deserves it, man. Miz has been so consistent.
Yep.
Miz was one of maybe 4 or 5 people that came to YouTube with me in a similar time. I think Miz actually came to YouTube before me, maybe a few months.
4 or 5 months.
A few months before me. This was part of the Twitter video era, everybody making their little short videos and, trying to build their platforms. There was loads of different group chats. There was blogs that people were writing for as well. All Things Chelsea blog, Chelsea Echo blog. Like I said, the 12th Man was a group. So there was so much going on Twitter. It was like its own world. And Miz is one of the few that have come over here and have just put the work in. He's just there every day without fail. Content. He's got kids. Do you know what I mean? He's got a family. And I'm blessed to be in a position, thanks to Miz, that I can go to the next away game in the Conference League and do a vlog and put it out. And I can do loads of different things. And I'm like, I've spoken to Miz so many times. He said, I'd love to do all those things, but I can't, I'm at home with family. I'm all the way in Australia. I said, no better way than for me to just give him something that is set. Like, the people are there. There might be a few comments today. You're going to cuss me. Yeah, well, I'm not going to lie. I don't care.
The show's not disappearing. It's still here.
It's not disappearing. It's just going to my brother. And like I said, I want him to get to 100K, and I know this show will help him do that because there's a big cult following with you guys, and I hope that you support the decision. I hope you support us over there on that channel as well. But yeah, fully deserved, man.
This is the equivalent of moving a show from BBC to ITV. That's it. Yeah, the show is still here. Don't stress.
And also, I just can't wait to be a panel member. I can't lie.
Yeah, that's it. It's gonna be a cool
I've been
dynamic.
a host for 4 years.
It's gonna be a cool dynamic.
And do you know what? Just to put the final touch before we move on to the show, right? Matisse, I knew Matisse when I still remember the number. It was something around 376 followers on Twitter.
Yep.
On
376.
Yeah.
On Twitter.
So the very, very beginning.
It's X now.
Yeah.
It's X now. Matisse has got over 100,000 followers now. I knew him when he had about 370 odd. And I knew from that day onwards, when I saw his first video, he was literally crouching down on the floor, on his carpet. You can even see the carpet, and he had the camera, and he was doing a match review.
Brilliant.
Very basic 1-minute match review. And he was talking about Loftus-Cheek, bricks on skates, and he was coming up with some mad names for players. And I was like, this guy's going to go places, Before Paul Winstonley and Lawrence Stewart, that was me. I was the one who was finding talent. Do you know what I mean? Another little snippet. Les, you guys see how big he is? Les,
Yes,
right?
I remember. Yeah.
I was the first one to reach out to him to come and do collab on my show. And he had about, I think, 500 subscribers.
Is that Bozidi?
Yeah.
So, and that same Les is now
Interviewing
interviews
players,
with Thierry Henry.
and yeah.
So, yeah, bro.
So
Chelsea,
basically,
Hi, me.
What we're segueing into is you need to be Chelsea's new sporting director, basically. You need to be
I think I'll
head
do
of
a mad
recruitment.
job.
He knows how to scout talent from young.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, it's the perfect way to segue because I did make my debut and it didn't go very well. As you guys let me know on the voice notes, you need to leave. And then I follow up with a loan move to Stevenage and Younes wasn't impressed.
Strasbourg it is.
Oh God, it's tough when you haven't played football in you only play football once a year, and then you come and you're just so stiff. I was like, I didn't even know how to move my body for the first 5 minutes of training. But
no, it's true. A lot of it is physical. Like if once you actually even just physically being able to be loose and agile, that helps a lot. If not, you're gonna lose like a second or two.
I was turning like a truck. I was indicating before I turned to shoot. Like it was crazy, bro. Yeah. Can I go? Am I? Yeah. All right, cool. It was insane. But I mean, it was a good confidence booster for the boys. Obviously, we're going to talk about that game. We're going to talk about that game for a little bit. We're going to talk about the protests. We'll probably even maybe mention Campos. I don't know if that link is really real. It's a bit of a pipe dream. Because I'm seeing his name coming up on the timeline, and I would absolutely love for him to come to the club and kind of take that head of football role. I felt like we've needed that for really since the get-go, whether it's in the form of a president like Perez or head of football. Yeah, I remember mentioning this before, and because again, I'm just trying to think of what is the best case scenario that can come out of this if we're not going to get what the end goal was and is. Which, we've discussed how long that will take and how difficult it is to do. How can we get closer to some sort of normal institution that runs properly? And he would be an incredible addition. I think he was one of my top choices with Edwards for a sporting director before he went to PSG. And I don't know what kind of phone contract he's there on, some pay-as-you-go thing. I don't think he's actually there.
He's an advisor.
Yeah, he's not. Is he?
Advisor.
He's a freelancer. It's true. He's a freelancer.
He's getting brand deals, bro.
Yeah, Campos invoices to PSG every month, and he tallies how many deals he's done for the month, and then he gives a fee for each one, and he's got a set fee and he invoices, and that's that. So it is what it is. So maybe we can tempt him with a full-time job, but we'll start with the game. Miz, I'll start with you, bro. Did you take anything from the game that is going to put us in good stead for the more difficult games that we're not guaranteed to win? Because that was basically like playing a Conference League team, wasn't it?
Today I'm all gas, no brakes, bro. That's what I'm going to bring. I'm not going to fuss about, man. Look, that game, great. We got the 3 points. Fantastic. But in the broader spectrum of things, it means nothing to me. It means nothing. Southampton, next up we've got in the Premier League, Leicester. I fully expect us to beat Leicester. These are two awfully, awfully bad teams in the Premier League. Have a look at the fixtures after that. People getting so gassed. Oh, Miz, talk to me now. We're fourth. Talk to me. Tell me about your protesters. Tell me about the protesters now. We're fourth. And I'm like, you must be so clueless. You must not be in tune with anything that's happening at Chelsea Football Club. If you think, we're fourth, well, we're not even fourth now right now. I think we're fifth off the back of Manchester City winning. Ladies and gentlemen, have a look at the fixtures after Leicester and put your right hand on your heart and tell me how you feel about those fixtures after that. Don't get too gassed about us being fourth. Look at those fixtures and tell me where we're going to finish and how you feel about the squad, how you feel about everything. Manager, sporting directors, owners. If by the end of the season, somehow we manage to navigate through those fixtures and, we make it into Champions League, fair. But the conversations don't end there. I'm done thinking about Chelsea. It's just a top four club. No. What are we going to do after that? Next season, challenging for the title. I'm done. I'm done being mediocre. Enough's enough. This is the last season where I'm going to act like this, where I'm happy to just stroll around. Next season, regardless of where we finish this season, better start competing and be amongst the teams that are going for the title. If you make it into Champions League, then you better be a serious club, because no more excuses. This season is the last opportunity for excuses. People say, but Miz, there's too much. You're asking for too much from this young. I never asked for this young team. I never endorsed this. I never said, but sign me up for this one. I never wanted this. And for people, if they say, oh, but the owners bought the club for 4 billion, they'll do whatever they want to. No, I'm sorry. The owners are a custodian of this football club. That doesn't mean they can just do willy-nilly whatever they want. Fans made this football club. Fans have every right to demand what they want, and the owners need to listen. They may not oblige immediately, but they need to listen. Just because you're owners, you can do whatever the hell you want with the club and take the club to the drains. I don't think so. So that's my review for the Southampton game. I'm not here to talk about the game, because for me, it's quite academic. Anyone beats Southampton. Southampton are worse than a Conference League team. Some of the goals that they conceded, self-inflicted.
Yeah.
Bro, they're rushing in and throwing everyone in front, high-pressing us, and leaving their goalkeeper and one defender behind. Come on. We've got serious games
same
after
as the reverse
Leicester.
fixture. Yeah.
Yeah, we got serious games after the Leicester fixture. Talk to me then. Talk to me.
What about Younes? You similar sentiments?
Similar. I mean, a win's a win, and it's nice. It's 3 points, and at the end of the day, that's the result. So happy days. But yes, Southampton. I mean, one thing I learned is that Southampton are definitely getting relegated. Man United are not getting relegated because of teams like Southampton. It's just they're a travesty, man. I mean, the goal where Tyreek George assisted was at the fourth, and you could see, like, ball gets passed into Tyreek George, defenders tracking Tyreek, and then he stops. And then he's like, oh yeah, I should be chasing him. All right. And then he tries to go. Look, Southampton were tragic, beyond tragic. We took advantage of that. It's like I said in my preview, and I expected it. We can be bad. Yeah, we can be really bad. But we're going to beat Southampton, because Southampton are tragic. They're really, really, really bad. And that's why they've racked up 9 points in 27 games now. So it's a good win. Is it a confidence booster? To an extent, yes, because any win will do that. Any win will make you feel good. And I'm pretty sure that we'll beat Leicester as well. But that's where I also share the sentiment with Miz, that's not a reason to go, jolly and, we're back on top of the world. Like, no, because the levels are the levels. And the tests that's going to come after that is going to determine where we actually finish. And even one step further, like Miz has alluded to, and I agree here, is that Champions League football is always the aim for this season. But we already know the doubts that we have, even as a fan base, of what the team actually needs to go on and compete properly in the Champions League next season, which we all fear we're actually not going to go and get in the summer anyway. And this is where the levels need to be risen so much higher. And I saw this in the Southampton game, for example, where we saw as far as I'm concerned, some celebrations validated. Even Nkunku, I mean, I saw him bring the balloon. I was like, brother, relax. But I understand why he does it. He does it for his son. He does it every game. Fair enough. We saw Colwell celebrating like he scored against Real Madrid, or at the end we saw Maresca and his coaching staff all like getting into a massive huddle and like, yes, come on. It's like, we didn't beat Bayern Munich, lads. We beat Southampton. We're at a point now after such a bad run where you just have to keep it moving. Just keep it moving, Cool, 4-0, thank you. Take it on the chin, give a little nod, nice one, well done. Keep it moving, focus. Because the worst thing you can do to young players like we've all got is to make them believe that everything's okay now. That's the worst thing you can do. Good win.
False sense of security.
Exactly. And we have to pay a big attention to that, because we don't have the required experience to show them in the moment on the pitch of what needs to be done. So there has to be added effort, from the coach, from the staff, even us fans, of There still needs to be some pressure here. So good win overall. I'm not going to complain about a win. It's a win. Happy days. But keep it moving. Keep it moving. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, I didn't actually even clock the celebrations at the time, so I probably wasn't looking at the screen anymore when the goal went in. But I don't know. Look, I don't know what that is towards. Some people say, oh, maybe it's the protest. I would like to think that it's not towards that. And I'd like to think that the players wouldn't try to diminish or undermine the fans' opinion and their right to protest. I would hope they're not that far up the board's arse. You have 10-year contracts. You can have a little bit more backbone than that. It's not like as if you're on 1-year deals or anything like, and you're begging to stay at the club. You have a bit of power yourselves, actually as well. But I think, in terms of the game, it's like a little bit of awareness for the fact that you're playing Southampton. A bit of awareness for the fact that, look. Yes, we're fifth or sixth or whatever, or fourth, fifth now.
Fifth, yeah.
But I think this is why, look, it's going to be a situation where it keeps flipping. And 1 minute we're third, and then we're sixth, and then we're fourth, and then we're seventh. It could be like that. But this is why I always target the points. And I think for me, coming into this season, it was about not only just getting there, but also how we get there. And it would have been great. I don't think it's going to go down like this now. I do think it's going to be just nip and tuck, and it's just going to be we have to shithouse it, or we just get over the line on the final day like a Mason Mount free kick against Wolves. It will have to be like that season where we just get over the line, in the last gasp, final day 38. And that's a way to Nottingham Forest. I don't think we're going to do this comfortably with the fixtures coming up. It would have been nice to hit a 70 points target, which again, I don't think we're going to hit. I think we got 63 last season.
Exactly.
We'd be kind of almost expecting at best to get similar to that again. 63.
There's people that have projected it, and you give us the wins, for example, against Leicester, or you give us Fulham away. You give us, I think, maybe one more. And then you look at all the other games where you just know, chances are we're not winning. Maybe. Or we get a draw. But then you look at the ones that we're expected to lose in. There are many fans have tallied that realistically would probably end up around 65. And that's a very dangerous territory. And in terms of Champions League.
Yeah, because
that is very, very dodgy. Yeah. Because right now, between 3rd and 10th, I think it's like a 5-point gap or something. It's insane.
4 points or something.
So,
yeah. It's true. Because usually high 60s just about guarantees it. 70 plus, you're in. You've never been out with 70 plus. High 60s should be okay. Once you start falling into that mid 60s, low 60s, don't even mention 50s. Do you know what I mean?
I think we've got Arsenal yet to play. We've got Liverpool yet to play. Newcastle yet to play. We've got
United, Tottenham,
Man United,
who are always difficult for us. I don't know why. Forest is going to be so hard, more than you can believe.
Brentford away. Tottenham.
This is what I'm saying. Don't worry about the Leicester fixture. That's in the back.
And we've got Conference League in the midst of all that, just in case, if we were to beat Copenhagen.
Well, Maresca already said, I think, alluded in the last press conference, he's not really focused on the Conference League anymore.
That's not a thing anymore?
Wait.
Premier League top 4. Yeah, the last press conference. I think there were some quotes going around. Premier League top 4 is the target.
Oh, so we've established that is now the target, yeah? Okay.
Yeah. Because he was talking about Cole Palmer and how, people are throwing all of those information. Is he happy? Is he not happy? Is he going to stay? And he goes, look, top 4, we want to get into Champions League, and we'll talk about all of that later on. If we don't make it to the Champions League, he even mentioned we're going to find it difficult in the summer window. He said it's going to be difficult to attract players to come to Chelsea not having Champions League football.
Well, that was always obvious to everyone outside of the club. But why was it constantly said that, we're ahead of schedule, and if we're trying to get it next year? I'm like, how does that benefit us? That opinion prior to him saying this now or that opinion from the club, or that message that they're trying to put out there and hope that the fans get on board with and accept. And some fans, very few, some of them did actually think, actually, that's not the worst thing in the world. That will help us develop again more young players in the Europa League, because we're not ready for the Champions League, which is crazy again to have to say. But obviously some people are saying, what's the point of going to the Champions League if we're just going to get smashed up and grabbed up anyway? Again, that shouldn't be the case. But yes, of course, from a revenue standpoint, you're going to have less money in the transfer budget because you make less money. Of course, players that are making less money because they're not playing in the top competition and their wages not going up are going to start thinking, should I be here? Of course, you're not going to be able to attract the top players. Like, this should all be automated. You know, when you get those automated emails when someone goes on holiday, if you do not make top 4, these automated emails should be coming straight to your computer for manager, directors, and owners. Why are you confused? It's like they're now telling us this, like, my God. So this is why we've all been saying we need to be in the Champions League next season. It's not like as if we don't have a front of shirt sponsor that's literally meant to be waiting for Champions League qualification, a Jordan kit deal that's meant to be waiting for Champions League qualification. Oh my God.
But Matisse, do you believe it's Maresca who said all of that stuff on his own accord initially? No. Like, I find it mad.
No, of course not. He was told to say that.
So then it makes me think, if it's not him, then who is it? Is it the sporting directors that are scripting it all out for him? Then the question is, why are the sporting directors scripting this? Why did they want to make us believe top 4 is not the target and giving this information, this script to Maresca to read out, only for them to change the script just a week ago? I don't get it. I don't understand this entire farce that has taken place in the last a week or so.
To be fair, when Maresca did speak about not making Champions League, he did explicitly say that the club hadn't given him a target, and that for this season, and that top 4 is a target for next season, right? So that he alluded that's been set out by the club. Now, if he's been briefed or told, to put that out there, maybe to alleviate pressure, maybe to just make it look like, it's all going to plan, which is what I believe the club want the fans to think. Afterwards, I would say slightly in his defense, is that it's like he did come out and almost make it seem like more of a personal opinion, like, no, we want top 4, Now, whether that...
Oh, you think he's now going against the club?
Has that not been set by the club, but his own personal aim for the team perhaps might be top 4? That could be realistic. But again, this is why... Unless if he's just going to tap out, which I think everyone has their limit, especially as an Italian. I think that shows that if this nonsense and the way that we're operating just keeps going, even Maresca, who's come from Leicester, the Championship, Chelsea Football Club, oh my goodness, I think even he'll hit his limit. I don't think he'll just stay bent over for the entirety of his contract and just go, yeah, no problem, I'm fine with this. I think for now, I think he's coping. I think he's doing whatever he's got to do, and even proving, like he's shown us, he'll say what needs to be said. I think even he will hit his limit. In the same way I think Poch hit his limit much sooner, but I think that's testament for what Poch has done previously in terms of, even though it was Tottenham, but still, it's higher than Championship and Leicester at that time. I think even Maresca will hit his limit. I don't doubt that Maresca doesn't want top 4 as a coach or the team. Like, you ask them, would you want to play Champions League? Of course they do. Who doesn't? But that pressure I don't think's been set from the club at all, which is insane. For me, that's just ridiculous.
Which is weird, because that will make you more money.
Yes.
So that really puzzles me.
Again,
it's strange.
This is why I mentioned before, at least from their perspective, from the ownership and from a business perspective, they've created a system where they are able to generate certain amount of income with the least risk possible. And making top 4 or trying to achieve something means there's always a risk that you might not. On a footballing level, that's something that you can do your best to control, but there's things that you just can't control 100%. You might be on the brink of making Champions League, you concede in the 92nd minute. You can't control that, and then all of a sudden you don't make Champions League. That's out of your control, realistically. But they've created a system that generates them consistent income based on the players that they bring in and increase the value and then end up selling, which has better risk to reward ratio compared to just relying on achieving certain targets on the pitch.
Basically Brighton, Younes. Like Brighton
if
don't
you
rely
ask Brighton,
on win, lose,
would
or
you
draw.
want to make Champions League?
Brighton
Like, yeah, of course, but they don't rely on it. I think that's probably the model we're going down.
Because simply putting more investment on the team to make it into Champions League is not guaranteed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like me spending another 50 million doesn't guarantee me Champions League, because that comes down to the nitty-gritty of day-to-day stuff that happens in training grounds, so on and so forth. So they look at the whole situation that I'm not going to take more risk where I'm not guaranteed. This is why, Matisse, I don't know if you remember. Do you remember when Todd Boehly and Iqbali, when they first came over, one of the first things they said, what? We don't make Champions League on a regular? Like, that's not confirmed for us?
It's not guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed? Because they're all about the
4-4-3.
guaranteed business. They don't like the uncertainty of, so now we've got to qualify every season for the Champions League? That's too much uncertainty. I can invest a lot of money and I can still not make it? What? Nah, less of that. Give me the guaranteed business. Give me whatever is guaranteed. Just coming back to that point about what you guys were saying in regards to targets. So if the target is top 4 now, which is what's being thrown around, right? What happens in corporate world when there's a target and you don't meet? There's consequences.
Yeah.
So is there
as there was
consequences?
for Pochettino?
Is there consequences if we don't hit the target? Or is it just business as usual?
Consequences for the wrong people, it would probably be. For me, you don't make if you don't make Champions League with Maresca as manager, are we gonna just stop at Maresca and be like, well, you didn't achieve the target with squad building over last summer that became pretty much extinct and irrelevant 6 months in? Is that partly your fault because you didn't trust some of them or you didn't want to use them? Yes, but also you could have just given him players that he could have trusted, guaranteed to trust, because they're just quality players, or they're just players that have done their dirt and are settled and established in the Premier League. You obviously got a Dewsbury Hall. He's never pulled up any trees in the Premier League, ever. He's just performed brilliantly in the Championship for Maresca, but he's never pulled up trees in the Premier League. So let alone coming up to the division and proving yourself with a Leicester, or proving yourself with a Fulham or a Bournemouth or a Brighton, clubs that were actually interested in him. Yeah. A Chelsea? That's a different ball game, brother. You ain't got the intangibles of Tomori, Mason Mount, Reece James coming from the Championship as young, developing, kids who have performed at Cobham that are now coming to Chelsea and playing around Aspilicuetas and Williams and no. And there's a transfer ban. No, you're coming up to Chelsea as in we're trying to kick on. First thing also is that, yes, the target has changed, but that means the target next season also needs to change. So I hope that they're aware of that. Because if the top 4 target has been moved forward, which is where it should have been anyway. In fact, people will make the case that we should have been in top 4 last season. But hey, do you know what I mean? This season now. Next season, like you said, Miz, we need to be competing for the title. Yes? There's no other way. There's no other way. Because it was judge us after how many windows was it?
Now
4 or 5?
We've gone past 6.
4.
Summer will be 7.
6 now.
We've gone. Yeah. So we're way past the whole judge me after this many windows, and now we're getting the conversations and the talks of this summer we're going to make little changes. Is that because you understand that you now need a spine and you need a few players to improve that spine, and then hopefully the players around that are good will improve? Or is it because you don't have any money and you're just going to buy a couple of opportunities and a few swaps?
Or
we'll find out. But hopefully we don't have to, because the point I was going to... sell to buy. But the point I was going to get to is the consequences shouldn't be at Maresca's door. The consequences should be at bare minimum the director's door, because they're the guys that have taken control of every sporting decision, right? There are parameters set, whether it's age, whether it's wage, whether it's the project, but within that project, it's like building a house or building a stadium. Let's just say the Chelsea Stadium. There are restrictions. There's a train line. There's a certain height you can't build above because there's a view to St. Paul's from Richmond's Park. There is housing
underneath.
There is the hotel. There's underground. So there's restrictions. Age, wage. But within those restrictions, what did you build? And there is leaking from the new stadium roof. The toilets,
Old Trafford,
the plumbing is poor. There's piss all over the floor. Basically, it's Old Trafford, right? You have not put together the right project within the dimensions and within the restrictions given. Now, we'll talk about those restrictions and we've already spoken about why they're there and the overall, but those two individuals, if you were to give that money to somebody else again, like an Edwards or a Campos, yes, there would be a few people that would still be talking about ownership and front of shirt sponsor, and because they're thinking big picture. But to the common fan who is very emotional in terms of the results, and when we're second, we've got our Chelsea back, and they just want to win trophies, and they're not interested in anything outside of the what's going on the pitch. The pitch is fully what drives them to either be happy or sad, which is most people. And we saw that because we were literally second a few months ago and there was no real talk about a protest, right? So those people, if you were to give money, that mandatory money that had to be spent to the right people, not people from Monaco and Brighton with the instruction from Iqbali, but give it to the right people without the influence of Iqbali and Clear Lake and Todd or whoever's trying to, get in the way of this. You give it to Campos or you give it to Edwards, and there are a few restrictions, but it's not. You don't have to sign Washington. You don't have to sign, all these guys. You do with that money what you think needs to be done. Just make sure the players are maybe under 25 or 25 max, and make sure that the wages aren't 200K plus. They would do a better job. Far better job.
Do you know what? What you've just said, wow, makes complete sense. Logical. These owners,
I knew he was going there. I was thinking
No, I'm like, what Matisse is saying
it's too late
is,
now. The money's gone, by the way. I was just saying. Money's gone.
What Matisse is saying is fantastic. Yeah. This is exactly what is needed. But don't fool yourself one bit. These owners will listen to Matisse. Yeah. Okay, next. They're not about this business, bro. Do you think it is by coincidence that they landed on Winston Lee and Stewart? It's by design, bro. They thoroughly saw their skill set and they brought them in for this purpose. Why do you think we keep hearing the PR? They're very happy. The hierarchical structure, the hierarchies, the owners are more than you can believe, are so happy with Winston Lee and Lonsha. They want to give them more contract. They want to give them a 9-year contract, bro. Stay here forever. Because they love them. They've been told certain parameters, that you have this restrictions, that restrictions, and within these parameters, do what you need to do. And they've done. They've brought in all of these players, made some money here and there. Owners are lovely jubbly, as Younes would say. Owners are happy. Someone like Luis Campos, who supposedly we're getting rumored with, which I think is a total BS.
Yeah.
They're not going to come here, Matisse. They're going to listen to all of these restrictions from these owners, be like, what do you think you're doing here? What do you think this is?
But the thing is with Campos, he's good at building young teams.
I was going to say.
But they compete.
But PSG, it's not just kids, It's not just 18 and 19-year-olds. There's Marquinhos there as well. Right. And I'm pretty sure they've got some other very, very
we had like Rudiger's and we had a few, but Aspilicueta's, Kante's, but yeah.
The other thing that you need to see as well, the owners over there, the Qatari owners, you think they really care about making profit from football?
They're probably obsessed with the Champions League.
They got all that oil money that's waiting for them. You think they
If
care
anything,
about
they want to
making
make
profit?
losses
Yeah,
because they need to get rid of
yeah.
the money. There's too much money.
Look, I'm not saying owners shouldn't look for some level of profit, but we need to understand our owners, as Younes so well put it the other day on my channel, they're a business organization. Our owners are not doing this because they have a passion for football. We're doing this as a passion project on the side. We love football. We love Chelsea. We don't care about getting dividends. We'll just break even. We don't even need any money from the club. We just love the club, do the best thing for the club. No. Returns on owners' investment. Our shareholders knocking on my door. I need to give them returns every year. Chelsea, hurry up. Dividends
Basically.
need to go that way.
Basically.
So this is, when you have that mindset, bro, I'm sorry, you cannot be thinking football anymore.
I agree. And
business.
with Luis Campos, for example, in that link, you're right in saying his track record actually speaks pretty well in terms of players that are discovered or not at a world-class level, and then they actually go on to become world-class whilst the team actually gets better. And then they get sold from Monaco, Lille, etc., right? And those teams, even Luis Campos has a good track record of going into a team and taking them from the trenches and actually getting them to compete, at least in France. Yeah, at least in France. Yeah. For the title, which he's done. Lille won the league. Monaco, straight after he'd left, won the league. They were in the trenches. PSG, at the moment, he's as a strategic advisor. But Luis Campos is also someone who has been in the game for flipping. I mean, he was working as a scout at Real Madrid back in 2011 or 2010 or whatever. It's like, and even prior to that, management and all sorts from the early 2000s. He's been in the game for ages. So he's a footballing guy, proper, right? And he's got a good track record. Yep. I agree in terms of that he'd be able to even, to an extent, fit into what Chelsea are doing. But the problem with what Chelsea are doing is that it sounds great on paper with similar to what Luis Campos has done with young players and building a team. But Chelsea have gone to the far extreme. You know, this is like when you agree with, let's say, conservative values, but then you have the far right and you're like, yo, that's a bit too much. Or you agree with certain, left policies, but then you look at the extreme left and you're like, you guys are coconuts. Chelsea have gone to an extreme. And Luis Campos is a footballing guy that I know for a fact would look at that extreme and go, no, you guys are crazy. A lot of that I can work within, but there's that extra that's extreme. It's insane, but it's for business. It's for business. And like Miz alluded to, this is why Luis Campos, I think, could be a good addition or someone to actually have. But again, it's like, and Fabrizio's alluded to this morning in terms of, Chelsea are not making any changes to the structure, to the management. They're happy with the way things are. I'm surprised that's actually been said and briefed, or is that just Fabrizio talking honestly? But who knows? But again, I'm not surprised entirely because like Winstanley and Stewart have been doing, they're executing the blueprint. If they weren't all this time, they would have been in trouble by now. But they're not in trouble and they won't be in trouble. So this is why, and if even within the club, which is the detail that we don't really truly know as fans, who is making the calls, those decisions, those minute decisions, is it actually with Winstanley and Stewart, or is it actually above them? Regardless, if it's above them, then they're puppets, and if it's from them and the owners are happy, then the owners are happy. But I don't believe they're idiots.
Owners are
this
idiots.
is the thing.
Because I don't know how you can watch.
You can't be at that level and you're an idiot. It just doesn't compute, which is why I'm not surprised Winstanley and Stewart are under no pressure at all because like Miz alluded to, they are executing the blueprint that these owners have implemented in terms of what they want to get out of this football club. That's how.
You know how you find the answer? You find the answer You know how sometimes in maths, you try and go reverse to find the answer? So you got the answer already, but you work backwards to go, that's what it's all about. We need to work reverse to find out what's going on. Now, what do I mean by that? Look at all the people that we tried to get. Michael Edwards, he was the one that we really, really wanted him. He was in a sabbatical for a year. We did all our sweet talking, and for one case or another, he just wasn't convinced. Next thing you know, Liverpool. Michael Edwards back in football. He's joined Liverpool. What message is that giving you?
We tried to get Nagelsmann.
What is that telling you?
And then we heard that he said this is a project for football.
I was just about to mention the
Nagelsmann
managers.
clearly said, I don't know what you guys are doing here. I'm not sure what you're cooking. It doesn't smell good.
Yeah.
I'm out of here. What makes you think Luis Campos is going to see all of this and be like, he wouldn't. Let's go for it. Wouldn't.
And you know what as well? When you spoke about investors as well, that is, and this is why I'm like, how has Todd allowed his stocks to fall this low with the Vivid Seats? Because when we talk about investors and you're talking about shareholders, that's all coming from Clear Lake Capital, because that's what they are. They're an investment group, right? So that's Iqbali, and that's what he's representing. But Todd, and I know he's a minority owner, and then you've got Vice, and Vice just needs to fuck off, honestly. Like we all know why he's here. He doesn't have anything to bring to the table. He doesn't even have a history or a background in the sport like Todd did when we was kind of trying to buy into that, ownership takeover, and they were trying to present it to us. I've got a history in sports. It's not football, but I know how to work in sports, etc., and recruitment, all that stuff. Vice is just that brother. He's on his last legs. How old is that brother?
Riz never liked Roman Abramovich. He's made that public.
Exactly.
That's the reason. Yeah.
So
it's more about spite.
I don't know who's in his will.
It's not Roman.
But hopefully that's a good person. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
Maybe not going to be a Russian, that's for sure.
But you would have thought that Todd would still be held in a high enough regard or have enough stock to say, right, you actually still care about the sporting side. You still care about the football. You still want to achieve. You still want to win. Yes, in that first window, you went about it the wrong way. Clearly, you didn't know what you was doing. You wanted Ronaldo. Actually, I think some of you guys wanted Ronaldo as well, but...
I was gassed. I know Younes was gassed as well.
I was shutting that shit down so hard. All my days. Through
all of this madness, it would have been nice to see Ronaldo, bro.
Goes for Koulibaly, goes for Sterling. It was like a rookie move, making rookie mistakes, because he went for players that had high ratings on FIFA. Like Sterling and Koulibaly got high ratings on FIFA. They're experienced. They've been about the block. I could understand why he would look. I didn't agree with Sterling because I didn't understand Sterling's motive coming in. I was like, yo, why would you need to come from winning Premier Leagues at City to now play for Chelsea in London with your family? It just felt like it was a retirement. Let's finish off the career. But I could understand the mistakes. The wages he was offering. He didn't care about no wage structure. The guy was handing out 250 for you, 300 for you. If anything, was too loose with it, right? He didn't give a damn. He was doing Kepa 7 years and Lukaku 300. He didn't give a damn. How have we got to a point? I'll ask you guys, what has, outside of Vivid Seats, because Vivid Seats is something he still needs to address. He still needs to put out a statement, and he still needs to leave Vivid Seats because it's a conflict of interest.
He's speaking today.
And he's going to speak today, isn't he? In a London conference. So I saw the bullet points on that conference, what was going to be addressed, and I didn't see Vivid Seats. Yeah, it was like Chelsea, and it was the same crap as usual. But I need to see Vivid Seats, because that if you're not asking about that, then that's a failure of a whole conference, in my opinion, for whatever Chelsea section is within that, outside of all these other businesses. But my point is what has Todd Boehly, how has Todd Boehly got to this point for you guys where he also just has to, because we'll get to the protest now. His face is on the protest. His face is big on one of the boards, right? And we all know that in the January of 2023, he was kind of like, yeah, you're not as involved, you're chairman, but you're not calling the shots anymore. Iqbali's the new big bollocks. I'm going to start closing deals when Stanley and whatever fall apart. I'm going to be that head honcho. What's Todd Boehly done for you guys where it's like, yeah, he's got to go as well? Like, I can't even have him be a majority or takeover with funding coming from elsewhere, him being with like a Saudi group and he's still here. Like, what is it for you guys where it's just like he has, just
the
get
frustration
out as well.
with
Like,
Todd,
you've got to go
especially
as well.
now. I think if Vivid Seats hadn't happened, more people would cut him a little bit slack, right? But the Vivid Seats thing hits the supporter direct. Like, that's the fan that you're affecting. It's not even like our policy at the club. Like that's hit. Yeah. That's from him to the fan. I think that's where a lot of the damage has been done, and why he's definitely been even involved alongside Clearlake in the protests that we saw. But Todd Boehly, which by the way, he's on the board of directors. His company Eldridge is majority shareholder of Vivid Seats. If you actually go and look at Vivid Seats and who they're owned by, it's 40-something% belongs to Eldridge. The rest belongs to BlackRock and Vanguard and all those American corporations. That tells you what you need to know. He has to sell the company,
so
basically.
He can't even get out of that.
So he's going to do that. So that's that. And again, that's a lot of the frustration is from there, because now there's a genuine big conflict of interest. But you see, at the time, this is where hindsight is a beautiful thing. At the time, the approach that he took as sporting director, it looked insane. He came in, he was like, I'm doing this. All right, sign this guy, give him that salary, pay that money, boom, boom, boom. It looked hectic and outrageous, right? And a lot of people would look and go, okay, there was good intention behind that, perhaps. Just it was just executed like a maniac. But he meant well, is what some people would say. But hindsight is a beautiful thing, because now we actually look back, and then we look post that, where we brought in the directors and we took a different approach, and Clearlake have gotten more involved and all of that. But they've all been together from day one anyway. So they've all had to sign off of everything together. And Todd Boehly coming in as playing sporting director from the get-go means that they didn't have to, from the offset, go and get a sporting director, which is what they should have done. If they were serious, Roman came in, first port of call, I need a sporting director. And he addressed that day one. We got Peter Kenyon, right? Most clubs would operate that way. We took ages to even think about starting to look for a sporting director, because Todd Boehly was doing it. This is the thing.
They didn't even know what a sporting director was when they came in. There's so many things they didn't know.
They didn't know much about football.
That's why Thomas Tuchel was so
Todd
pissed.
Boehly sitting as chairman, which he's getting paid 20 million a year for, by the way, right? But when you look back and you look at, there was no rush of getting a sporting director. Tons of money was spent. Then we look to what they actually had to spend in terms of the agreement, right? That there was a certain amount of money that had to be splashed. And that's been splashed now. What better to do it yourself, instead of going and getting a sporting director who might disagree? What they've done is they've spent a ton of money and then gone and got two sporting directors that fit a certain way of conducting business. And now the model's in place, whilst the money's been spent. So this is where I look back and I go, it seemed reckless and crazy, but was that intentional as well then? Was that just all part of the plan too? Because everything's got to be signed off by everyone. I'd find it insane that at the beginning, if Todd Boehly was running the reins and Clearlake were just like, oh, we got nothing to do with this. Like, no, Clearlake are still the majority owner. When you think about it, they own 62%. So even if Todd Boehly is the face, Todd Boehly needs them. Todd Boehly can't run the club alone. He doesn't have the funds for it.
He does.
Clearlake do.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the funds
for it. But I don't. So this is what I'm trying to distinguish. Because there was like talk of like, oh, they don't get along, but they have to because he needs them. So it's like it's almost like they're there with him because he has to have them there because he needs the funding. But is there a part of it where in the back of his mind he's like, I don't want to run it like this, but I have to because I need the financial backing of them because I can't do this on my own. And it's like, I will give the green light because I'm a minority owner as well. But again, if there was it feels like for me where, as we've listed it, you got the manager, They'll push him out, say all the dumb shit. Okay, you didn't believe it? All right, directors, you come and push it out and say all the dumb shit. And then after the directors, it feels like Todd, who's for like the neutrals or the people that don't really understand the way Chelsea's set up, Todd's the next one. Like, Todd's the face of this. You still get all these media outlets that still say, Todd Boehly, Todd Boehly, Todd. And that is like the trick. It's like, how have they gotten away with not having everybody understand Igbali, Clear Lake Capital? Igbali, Clear Lake Capital. It's just, there's always someone else. And Todd is the last line. And for the mainstream media, it's always Todd. Todd's Chelsea, Todd's Chelsea, Todd's Chelsea. And I'm just like, is this really fair on Todd? I don't really feel like Todd wants to do it. Like, he might have similar kind of agreements in terms of the way that they're doing it with the age and the wage, but I don't really feel like he would have done it exactly the same way that they're doing it. Because again, he's not under pressure from investors and shareholders, so it's a little bit different. But I don't know.
Do you know what has happened here? Initially, as we all agreed, Todd Boehly was the one who was the face. He was the one who was in charge, and Igbali was still very prominent, but his name wasn't getting thrown in the forefront because apparently it was Igbali who didn't get along with Thomas Tuchel. That's what it all ended up. Todd Boehly was the one who was trying to patch things up. The problem with Todd Boehly to still stick around for me is obviously the vivid seats is a huge factor, and as Younes very well explained that, so I don't need to go into detail. I feel like Todd Boehly, if you're going to be an owner, bro, you need to have some sort of backbone. If you were the front face of Chelsea Football Club, which you were, you needed to sit down with your business partner and say, hey, Igbali, can we just chill for the first 6 months a bit? Can we just observe? Because this was a winning team. This was winning Champions League football, Club World Cup, Super Cup. I had a lot of winners. Can we just let it run for a little bit, for at least 6 months, see where it goes, and then we'll see what we need to do? They came in and they decimated the whole joint. Peter Cech gone. He doesn't want to stick around. Marina gone. She doesn't want to stick around. Players ripped apart, gone. So for me, as a part owner, this, that, the other, okay, let's get rid of Igbali, let's get Saudis in because I truly believe what Boehly is all about. I don't think so, man. I don't have confidence in him either. I think he's too much, as Younes said, it's too much of that extreme or this extreme. He's not in the middle. He's not making astute decisions. Look at Michael Edwards, right? Liverpool has put him into charge again. What has Michael Edwards done since he's come to Liverpool?
Well, he understands football.
Nothing. He's done nothing.
And
they're about to win the Premier League.
Yeah, but you have to have an understanding of football to do nothing.
A very good setup in
as
place.
well. To do nothing is still doing something. That's a decision to do nothing.
Exactly. Yeah. This is why I said I'm not confident.
We have to remember as well.
He'll always feel like he needs to do something.
You just alluded to the fact that Edwards has come in and he's not an owner, but nothing's really changed, right? When these lot came in and Todd Boehly was leading the way, everything got gutted out from day one. The entire infrastructure got flipped upside down.
Yeah, but who gutted that out, Younes? Who gutted that out?
I think Marina had to go. Because of her ties to Roma, Marina probably had to go.
Czech should have stayed.
Czech should have stayed. Czech should have been.
Not even the groundsman survived. No one survived. Everyone got gutted out. Left, right, players, staff, backroom, canteen, directors, Czech. Medical.
But Younes, who got rid of them?
Medical.
Ownership.
Who got rid of all of these people? This is what I mean. Like, Todd Boehly should have some level of backbone.
Exactly. This is why when you see them coming together, and Todd Boehly is the face of it, and I think they need each other technically, but he's a part of that. Do you know what I mean? And you could say that yes, maybe alongside someone else, maybe it'd be different. But he came in with these lot, and to think that they didn't come in with a plan, it would be insane. I think they are executing what they planned from the offset.
It would be insane.
That's how. And the vivid seat stuff is now just a cherry on the cake, which has sent things over the edge for Todd, basically. So
cherry on the cake, yeah.
They were always in love with the Brighton model. That goes for Todd Boehly as well. Iqbali has obviously openly spoken about it, how he admires that model. Todd Boehly has also said, yeah, Brighton, well run. Who's the one that says, oh, they punch above their weight? Brighton always punches above their weight.
Yeah.
I feel like Iqbali can run rings around all these people as well. He gives me that sense that he will just run rings around all these lot. And if he's a little bit manipulative or he's got a little bit of, he'll make sure that everything is going exactly the way it needs to go. Like it's like having a Bond villain in charge. Like the guy just reeks of you could just tell, just like everybody around him is just like not even on the same level. They don't even operate at the same level. This guy, the way he struts up, the way that he rocks, the way that he comes in, it just looks like everybody around him, you better agree with what I'm about to tell you. You better get in line if you don't, because
this guy's a big shot, Matisse. Iqbali's a big shot. And one name that doesn't get thrown around the mix a lot more than it really should be is Feliciano as well. I don't think Boehly really has anything to say anymore. He'll sign things off. He'll just go, okay, well, lads, what do you want to do? All right, let me sign off.
No. Not putting up a fight, no. That's what I don't think he is putting up a fight anymore.
I mean, what can you do when you only have 20% shareholdings? Like,
this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying.
I mean? And I don't think he's too bothered either. Feliciano and Iqbali, they run the show here.
But so just to add to this, when he first came in, I think he was bothered. And I think he was excited, and I think he was like, "Oh, this is a new opportunity." When you've been there for a few years, and like you said, you don't you got the power to sign things off, but you kind of have to sign it off because that's where the money's coming from, and they're the majority. That he probably doesn't, like you said, probably doesn't care anymore. It's gone so far in that direction. It's like, well, it's too far gone now, and so may as well just focus on my other assets and businesses.
If he did care, here's my thing.
He doesn't support Chelsea, so he doesn't care enough. He never was going to care enough.
So here's the thing, right? Yep. You guys know how he recently bought some cricket club in England, right?
Yeah.
Now, if he really did care so much, here's my personal opinion. Don't you guys think that he would take up the takeover bid to Iqbali and Clearlake and Feliciano and say, guys, I've always wanted this club. I've always wanted to run it in a certain way. It's not going that way. What is it that you want? I'm going to find investors. We'll try and pay you guys out. What's stopping him from doing that?
What if they told him, yeah, no, we're happy here.
Then Todd Boehly, what are you doing here?
And this is at its core. This is why, if you remember, before the takeover was, well, when it was in the midst of happening, everyone could agree we don't want a consortium. This is what happens. That's the core of it. Now we're in the thick of it. Shout out KSI.
Yeah. KSI.
This is why I say it's not going to make any difference if you get rid of sporting director. We are so deep into this mess. The only way to eradicate all of this is you got to get the owners out. And I know you can't get the owners out today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, not even 6 months, 12 months. I get that. I'm not disillusioned to think that they can just leave or they want to leave. But all these other suggestions, like, for example, I saw the episode that you guys did last week, and there were some beautiful conversations. I have to be honest, a lot of the conversation is fairy tale. It's really fairy tale. There is only the one solution here. All the other parts is we're just passing time. We're just having conversation. And people are listening
this model stays in place
and wasting their time. It's one solution only. You have to get rid of the owners. The lot. And it's going to take a long time. I don't even know if it is going to happen or not. that's where the state of the play is.
And there is a long way to go, because I put that interview into the group, and he's let me get his name up, because he is like a OG. I know, Younes, you'll recognize him. I don't know if you saw what I put into the chat before we wrap up. It was an interview on TNT from David Johnstone. And he,
yes,
from what I remember, I think he does all the Chelsea fanzine stuff. And he's like, every match goer, if you've ever been to a game at the Bridge more than a handful of times, you know exactly, like you just recognize his face.
Oh, the CFC UK fans.
Yeah.
Only pounds or something.
Yeah.
Only a pound.
So he's like entrenched. Like he has a lot of influence over match goers. I would like to think. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, he's old school. People know him at the very least. And his interview, whilst it did hit the nail on the head in terms of the tickets and the everyday match going fan, and I enjoyed all of that. When it came to the protest part, it was like, I think these guys are here because we're in bad form, or the results they're not happy with, or the January recruitment. I was like, So the level of depth that we've just spoken about here, the reason why, and again, credit to the 200, 300 people that were there, but the reason why there wasn't thousands, and how long it will take for maybe thousands, and we're talking about Stamford Bridge. And
to an extent, you know what? I actually think there are fans, right, who are relying on results. We would, and that's my issue as well, because I think we would need to be knocked out of any sort of Champions League possibility for a good portion of fans to go, oh,
I think it has to be lower than that.
In trouble. maybe lower.
Honestly, Younes, I think it's lower than that.
Yeah,
I think if we qualify for Europa League and we win Conference League, which means we qualified for it twice, I'm telling you, that is not going to sway.
Yeah, it won't.
That crowd. It's just like the amount of, like you just said, Miz, it is a lot to sway that many people, because it's so in depth what you're discussing.
Very, very in depth. This is why, lads, I don't know about you guys, in every single one of my videos now, this is how I literally end. I put my two hands together and go, take your time to understand Chelsea. Guys, it's great to be passionate and keep the blue flag flying high. Understand Chelsea Football Club now under this ownership. Understand who Clearlake are. Understand the history behind Iqbali, who's Feliciano. Understand Todd Boehly. Understand Eldridge. Understand the businesses they run in the background that they have in their main business. See how they operate there, and then look at Chelsea and go, wow, this is not a coincidence, This is how they run. This is their model everywhere. You have to do your research now, ladies and gentlemen. You got to educate yourself. You have to get into the details, or else you're going to sound like that only a pound guy who's only talking about the
you talked about just how fans are affected, really, which is what he's aware of 100%, because that's his bread and butter. But yeah, the issues at the club run so much deeper. So much deeper. And there's a lot of public info out there people I don't think are aware of. Even just like we saw the example of debt being spoken of on like TalkSport and whatnot, and that was just it wasn't well informed at all. When you do go into it, it's not 150 mil, it's 1.2 billion. With 13% interest on 500 million. It's insane, yeah? But again,
and the interest rates are scary.
I agree. Fans need to take their time, because like we said, these owners are not selling tomorrow. And people need to take the time to go into the information that's out there, that's public, and that you can see for yourself, and do some digging to really understand the situation.
You're basically, what we're asking is for some of the everyday fans to basically do a course in business.
Yeah.
If you like Chelsea, if
business
you like
studies, ladies and gentlemen. Start enrolling.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, listen, I enjoyed that, because you guys have made it very, very clear. You've made it very, very clear, and I think you've explained it perfectly. And that's what this episode was for. Yes, we could talk about Neto up front. Yes, we could talk about Nkuku off the left, Enzo Fernandez man the match. But listen, we've got many more difficult fixtures coming up. And that will be a better episode to judge. That will be a better episode to talk about the players. Right. We will get back to talking about the team and the tactics, but not against Southampton. It needs to be against the proper teams. When we play them and we really are tested, then we can discuss performance levels and man of the matches and who scored, and because then it will mean something. Because either if they do it, it will get us into the top 4. And if they don't do it, then it won't. So, that is it really. But then again, people, smash up the likes. Make sure you subscribe. It's been an absolute pleasure. Make sure you go and subscribe to Younes. Make sure you go and subscribe to Miz. Thank you to all of you that have ever watched All You Can Eat Chelsea on this channel. All of the people that have told me far and wide and told, I'm sure, Younes and Miz when they've seen them on the streets about All You Can Eat and how much they enjoy it. Appreciate your support. It's not leaving. It's just moving, right? To Miz, end of the season. We're going to do one live after the season's ended. It's going to be the end of the season live, All You Can Eat Chelsea with the chat. And then it will be on Miz's channel and he will be in charge. Anything that happens from that point is all on Miz. If he kicks me off, it's okay. It's his decision. Right? Everything is on Miz. I'm going to give him the intro, the assets, everything. But then again, yeah? Right. So until next time, big up your damn selves in a bit, people. Peace.